Hello everyone, I guess you all are keeping fine and are also eagerly waiting for the new lesson. So here I'm starting lesson number 9, Kings and Chronicles, the Mughal courts from 16th to 17th centuries. So let's begin the chapter with a question first of all. So this is the first part of your chapter, introduction, first paragraph. So for the first paragraph, you can take down a question. The question is, why did the Mughal rulers get their dynastic histories written? Well, here the question is that why did the rulers, that means the Mughal rulers, wanted their activities, whatever activities they have performed, or the war, or whatever was going on, or what was done, to be recorded, right? So let's see why. First of all, as we go through the book, we came to know that the dynasty of the Mughal Empire considered themselves as genuine rulers of a large, diverse population. Whether this vast vision was defined by actual political conditions and remain important. Now, the vision was that, okay, when we talk about vision, means what is the vision? The vision is that these people, the Mughal Empire, consider themselves like they were appointed by the God himself and were asked to go down and rule the people. So this idea have to be popularized. Now, in order to popularize this idea, they have to keep writing all the histories in the way of transmitting the fanciful view. When I talk about fanciful view, means that God has sent them. This is a fanciful view. Now this have to be popularized, and how to popularize this is by writing. And this writing was not kept only for a particular year, but it was followed from dynastic histories. The Mughal rulers appointed court historians to write the details of their accomplishment. Whatever they have done, whatever they have accomplished, they have to write it. And means the ruler is not writing himself, but he have some people already employed for that, appointed for that, and he will keep on writing all the accomplishment which was accomplished by the Mughal kings or rulers. These detailed tasks were recorded, and the events of the rulers, like from time to time. Further, the writers also tried to collect the great quantity of information from the areas of the subcontinent. These writers moved around the subcontinent, and they wanted to record all these things, like what did the king do, what kind of things the king already had done for them, whether the king had done something great, whether he lost, or whether he had been cruel to people. All these things they started to look for, and they start to collect all this quantity of information from the areas of the subcontinent, and that helped the rulers to govern the kingdom as well. Now see, whenever the information was gained from the people, now they started to copy it, or they started to write it in the books. Now when the new king comes, he also goes through some of this, and he comes to know that what are the drawbacks in the empire, and they try to correct it. So that is why they try to keep the records of their activities and all. So that was your first answer. Now second paragraph, also you can take down a question, like the question is, what is Mughal Chronicle, right? So what is their importance for writing of Mughal history? Means here we are trying to study like what is the Mughal Chronicles and what is the importance of these writing of Mughal history. Why do we have to keep this, right? So it is in the second paragraph. Now modern historians work in English got the term of the facts as chronicles. Now whatever the work was done by the modern historians, and this is done in English, and that was termed as the chronicles. Now the chronicles provide the information about Mughal Empire, and it is a requisite source for the scholars who are willing to elaborate the history of Mughals. Whoever wanted to study about Mughals, whoever wanted to write more about Mughals, they have to study these chronicles, and these chronicles gave them huge ideas of the Mughal Empire. They were the warehouse. When I talk about warehouse, means it's like a go down, we can say. Now these chronicles were the warehouse of factual information about the institutions of the Mughal Empire. They were collected and categorized by the individuals who are associated with the court. The texts were designed as conveyors of meanings that the Mughal rulers sought to implement on their kingdom. Whatever books were written, whatever items that was written inside the books, it was not just a message, but it was also a kind of suggestions, advice, or you can say different steps that can be taken so that the Mughal Empire or the Mughal rulers who are coming up one after another, they will try to use those ideas so that it can be used in their kingdom for proper running, for maintaining their empire in the best possible way, or we can say like running the empire in the best possible way. And how to know this? These are all the things which are written in the chronicles, and thus the upcoming king will read the chronicles which was written by the scribes, or you can say the writers. And whatever was written is not new one, remember this. These are all the activities, facts, or you can say the situations or whatever accomplishments which was already accomplished before the present king. I mean the past directly, we can say. Whatever was done in the past, the present king will read and he will try to find out how his father, how his grandfather ruled the kingdom, and he will try to follow that steps. And if possible, he will also try to add some more to this. That is why these are very important. Now they provide us a brief view about how the imperial ideas were created and spread. Now through these chapter we will try to study the workings of these rich and charming dimensions of Mughal Empire. So we reach our first topic of the chapter, the Mughals and their empire. For this topic you can take down a question. The question is, who were the Mughals? Question mark. Give a brief description of political history of Mughals. So as we go through the part, we came to know that the name Mughal was derived from Mongol. Though today this name is the symbol of the great Mughal Empire, but Mughals themselves did not select this name. They preferred to call themselves as Timurids because they belonged to the descendant of Turkish ruler Timur. First Mughal emperor Babur was related to the Mongol ruler Genghis Khan from his mother's side, and he used to speak Turkish and referred Mongols as barbaric hordes. The word Mughal was first time used by the Europeans during the 16th century for the Mughal dynasty. So now let us see the political history of the Mughals. The first empire was set by the Babur. That means the beginning of the Mughal Empire, who was the king? It was the Babur. Now Babur, let's see what he did. Babur, or we can say the Mughal Empire founder. Okay, now when we talk about Mughal Empire, it was made up of many regional kingdoms. It was a result of conquest of friendly treaties. Now Babur, being the founder of this empire, was also he was aware like he will be attacked by different kings. So it happened, the warring Uzbeks, they fought or they chased away Babur from his hometown or homeland from Central Asia, that is Fargana. As he was chased away from Fargana, he took refuge in Kabul. Then from Kabul, for the first time, he said that we need to move forward to the Indian subcontinent during 1526 so that he can meet all the demands or needs of the members of his clan. So he asks his people that we will be moving towards the Indian subcontinent, and thus that is all about Babur. But this is only the political history, so we are reading, or we will see small things about all the kings whoever ruled Mughal Empire, or whoever were the part of the Mughal Empire. After Babur, it was his son, that means Babur's son, Humayun. Now his full name is Nasruddin Humayun. Now Humayun was a son and successor of Babur, who expanded the frontiers of this empire, but he was defeated by the Afghan king, we can say, like Afghan, the leader Shah Suri, and after being defeated he was forced to run away from India. And when he ran away from India, he took refuge in the court of Safavid ruler of Iran. After reaching there in Iran, he, with the help of the Safavid ruler, once again came back and attacked or fought against Suris, where he was able to defeat the Suris in 1555 and start rule. But he did not rule for long. It was only a 1 year term, because he died accidentally when he fell off from the stairs of the library. Now later, after Nasruddin Humayun, his son Akbar, that is Jalaluddin Akbar, took the charge. Now Akbar was considered as the greatest Mughal emperor. He not only expanded his empire, but also consolidated it and made it as one of the strongest and richest empire of his time. He extended the frontiers of his empire to the Hindu Kush mountain. He also checked the expansionist plan. That means he also checked those who want to attack, or those who want to extend their territories and capture a part of his empire. He checked them very well. He knows that these are the Uzbeks of Turans, and also he checked, and he kept his people every time in alert. He also checked this Uzbeks of Turan and Safavids of Iran, and he never wanted this people or this country to expand their territories and take away the Mughal Empire or the Indian subcontinent from their hand. Right? So after Jalaluddin Akbar, it was a chance of Akbar's successor. So when you talk about successor, so we got, first of all, Jahangir. After Jahangir, it was Shah Jahan. After Shah Jahan, it was Aurangzeb. And these all became Mughal rulers in the Mughal Empire itself. All three were able successors who further expanded their empire, although it was not that very fast. It was a very slow movement, or you can say the speed of expanding was not very fast like Akbar or Humayun or Babur. It was quite slow. Then they maintained and consolidated the different instruments for governance. They don't only follow what their grandfather have done. They try to find out different type of ways to rule. So they had different types of instrument in order to know like what they should do. When I talk about instrument, remember, it is not a practical or physical instrument. These are like ideas also can be known as the instruments, right? So what kind of ideas, strategies, and what kind of impact they can put on into the empire so that it can be expanded, or it can move, or it can reach far and wide than their predecessors. Okay, so that was all the ideas of different kings or Mughal empires, and then they try to govern these areas for long time. But what had started should come to an end. So the empire also faced some kind of difficulties at last, and there it came to an end. So now what happened was that Aurangzeb died in 1707. Now when he died, after his death, the central power of Mughal dynasty was reduced. That is why instead of controlling such a large empire, from capital cities like Delhi, Agra or Lahore, many regional forces emerged. And slowly and slowly, every little part which was a part of the Mughal Empire, when they came to know that after Aurangzeb there will be no able leader, they started to break up and they start to form their new, or you can say like new classes or new empire started to be formed. But symbolically, the prestige of Mughal rulers remained intact. The last scion of these dynasty was the Bahadur Shah Zafar II, who was overthrown by the British in 1857. So this were all about the political history of the Mughals. So when we go through this part, what we have to remember for your exam is the chronological empire, chronological order of the Mughal Empire, like the Babur first, then Humayun, then Akbar, after which it is Jahangir, then Shah Jahan, then Aurangzeb. Now after Aurangzeb, remember, after him there was the last king of this Mughal Empire, that was Bahadur Shah Zafar II, and after him the whole empire was, we can say, finished, right? So that is all about the political history of the Mughals. I hope you are able to understand whatever I explained.